I'm here today to do a book tag. I'm sorry I've posted 2 of them in a row. That's very unusual for me, but today's book tag is based off of the book Something in Between by Melissa de la Cruz. I'm sure you've seen this video floating around. This tag is called the Fairytales in Real Life tag. The reason that this book tag was formulated is because Melissa de la Cruz is the author of Isle of the Lost, which is a fantasy series, and now she's hitting bookshelves with this book, which is a contemporary book, and the purpose of this tag is to show that things in fantasy, such as the very stereotypical or trope-ish, like Big Bad Wolf or Fairy Godmother, whatever it may be, those concepts, twisted just a little bit, are also seen in contemporary things. So today is a tag all about taking things that would typically be from a fantasy book and then relating them to how they would be shown in a contemporary book. Did that make sense? First of all, huge thank you to Harlequin Teen for sponsoring this video. This book is about a girl named Jasmine, and she's a Filipino immigrant in America, living there with her family, and she's super popular in school. She's on the cheerleading squad, she has a ton of friends. She has plans about going off to college and being successful in that way, but then her family finds out their visas have expired, and so they're technically in America as illegal immigrants. And it talks about her having to come to terms with that. She meets a boy whose father's a congressman, so there's political drama in that sense. I just think it's a super relevant book because in the political climate right now, people are like, we hate immigration. So I think it's a really good topic just for teens to get to know the issue because it's very important. This book is in stores now. If you would like to go and pick it up, you can just like hobble on down to your, I don't know why you'd be hobbling on down to Walmart, but you could get your own copy at like Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy things. On to the questions, I suppose. So our first question is Fairy Godmother. It's a contemporary trope where a motherly or fatherly figure leads a misguided protagonist. I decided to choose The Fault in Our Stars, not because Hazel's a misguided character, but I just love her mom in that book so much. I think she's a really good guidance and motherly figure, and that was the very first thing I thought of, so I'm choosing The Fault in Our Stars just because Hazel's mom was the real MVP. The second question is Prince Charming. I choose a contemporary character who takes on a quest or an act for his or her love interest. For this one, I went the super basic route, and I chose Noah from The Notebook because we all know how Allie wanted her little house with the shutters, and he did it. He did that! I'm very emotional, so we're moving on. Was that a good answer or was that a good answer? I'm proud of myself for thinking of that one. Thank you. Thank you. The third question is Forbidden Fruit, the contemporary trope of giving in to temptation. We're gonna get a little disturbing right now, and I'm so sorry for this, but I chose Forbidden by Tabitha Zuzuma because if you know what book that is and what it's about, they give in to some temptations. That's all I'm gonna say. Look up the book if you want to know what I'm talking about. The fourth question is When the Clock Strikes Midnight. It's a contemporary trope where the characters fear an impending moment. For this, I chose This Is Where It Ends by Marika Nikon. Why am I choosing the most disturbing books in the entire world? I'm so sorry. There's fluffier questions later on. I chose this because the book's about a school shooting, and so clearly there's a lot of impending moments that people are fearing. It's a very dark and a very gritty and heart-wrenching, great book. Had me on the edge of my seat. Number 5 is The Big Bad Wolf, an antagonist that's so powerful that the hero feels helpless against it. For this, I chose a recent read for me, which was Room by Emma Donoghue. This book is about a family, or a mother and a son, that is trapped inside this room that they have never been allowed to leave. And the person, maybe this is slight spoiler land, but there is a person outside of that activity that controls all of it, and he is an antagonist so powerful that the hero feels helpless against it. Number 6 is The Power Within. It is a contemporary example of someone with an unexpected power who had thought themselves to be ordinary. I chose The Running Dream by Gwendolyn Van Draenen because this book's about a girl who is just an average high school athlete, and then one day she has to get one of her legs removed, and so she has to learn how to use a prosthetic leg. The way that she was able to overcome that and to learn how to keep running with this prosthetic leg was just really cool and inspiring, and I think it comes from someone who thought they were ordinary, and at the beginning of the book she was definitely thinking like, I don't know if I can do this, so it was super cute and nice to see her be able to work through that. Number 7 is The Grand Ball, which is a contemporary trope wherein a character feels a major moment of fitting in. For this question, I chose the book George by Alex Gino. This is what I'm currently reading. This is about a girl named George. She is born a boy but wants to become a girl, and so this is all about her trying to come to terms with her gender and not knowing how to come out to her parents about wanting wanting to be trans, and it's just about how to fit in with, I mean, gender binaries aren't necessarily something you have to fit in with, but I think gender is definitely a really important subject about fitting in, or however you need to define yourself. Number 8 is Fairest of Them All, a contemporary pressure for outer beauty that challenges the importance of inner beauty. For this I chose The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, which is one of my favorite contemporary books of all time, and it's, like the title says, about this girl coming to terms with the fact that now she has grown prettier, boys give her attention, and I think it really stresses the fact that inner beauty is just as equally important as outer beauty, so I think that's one of the really great things about the series, and I loved it. I mean, the first one was better than the other two, but it has a really great moral and it's so relatable. Number 9 is The Evil Stepmother. It is a contemporary character who invokes anger or resentment for stepping into another character's role. So for this I really couldn't think of a book example because I, for some reason, have a horrible memory and can't really delve into relationships within books, but I could think of a real life example that I can kind of pair up with a book, if this counts at all. But you know, there's these two people in history named Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, and I don't know if you know, but Aaron Burr was real salty for a long time about the fact that Hamilton kept beating him for all the political positions he wanted, and etc. So that works, right? That's a sort of contemporary answer, even though it was like 200 years ago. And number 10 is Happily Ever After. It's the contemporary belief of finding happiness in the end, even if the road to get there is sort of a struggle. For this, I chose, even though pretty much any contemporary can fit this category, one of my favorites is Just One Day by Gail Forman. It's a book about traveling, so I felt like road, travel kind of went together. It's about a girl who goes to France and meets a guy there, but then that doesn't work out, so she has to go back to America all alone, and she's so upset about it. But then at the very end she decides, you know what? Why be upset about life, and then does a thing to make herself feel better. I don't want to spoil it. It's just so good, and it has a really cool arc about how the character perceives things and how she deals with heartbreak, I guess. But it's so good, and it's one of my favorite books. If you like books about travel, or especially books set in Paris, excellent read. And that was all 10 questions for this tag! Anyone can do this tag if they feel like it, but I specifically tag a couple of my friends. I tag April from Aprilius Maximus, Sam from Thoughts on Tomes, Jenna from Jenna Claire K, and Haley from Hale's Hearts NYC. I'm sorry the lighting has shifted dramatically in this video. The passage of time correlates with the rotation of the earth, and so we just suddenly... Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks once again to Harlequin for sponsoring this video, and I hope you all have a wonderful life. I hope you all go out and pick up this book, and that's all. Goodbye!